there's a lot to it, and there's a lot that I feel we as a profession need to respect about that.
Dream Home Hunter Deep Dive.
Thanks. Today I have speaking with me Sean Spencer, licensed realtor here in Oklahoma City, work Edmond area. Sean, I'll let people know who you're working with and where you work out of.
Yeah, I'm with Zach Sykes over here at Homestead & Co. Realty. It's almost 2 years now that I've been with this brokerage. Awesome place. Truly love it. Fantastic opportunity for folks who are certainly just getting into the business. I was blessed having a little bit different background. I think we'll go through that here in a bit.
Sure.
But as far as that goes, no, awesome. Zach's fantastic. Love it here.
I met Zach as well. He's a very both intelligent. I please appreciate his technology knowledge and his nurturing knowledge that he has as well too. So you mentioned real estate. You go ahead and let us know how you got started in real estate.
Well, yeah. So I actually I did several different things growing up. I guess I'm still growing up. I'd been in hospital administration for about 10 years. Unfortunately, got downsized from that. Ended up working in the oil field, which is old guy in the oil field, actually working on rigs and stuff like that. And what was really cool about those experiences combined is being in management, I had the opportunity to really build those skills for building personal relationships with teams and other people, setting expectations, and then going in the oil field, obviously a certain toughness that you get to build, but also on the fly problem solving all the time. And so combining those two things was great. Unfortunately, then I got downsized from oil field when oil went down this is quite a while ago.
Right.
Ended up having the opportunity to work with a local builder, great builder. Had some fantastic training from a nationwide new home sales trainer that just really helped me to get a really good understanding of just what are the things that we can do to set expectations, help folks go through this, and really appreciate, the gravity and respect that we need to have towards this. Single largest purchase you make at any given point in your life.
Most definitely.
So giving it that respect was great. Loved it there, but also knew that I could do more. Once someone left my model home or my builder, if I knew something else could work for them, I was hamstrung, couldn't do anything else. So next step to becoming a realtor was pretty easy for me. Allows me to go ahead, and I still sell their houses and anyone else's, but it allows me to help folks in any capacity, not just new homes, but existing, which gives me a lot of satisfaction, quite honestly.
It's great when you can kind of combine your background knowledge. It's almost like training with the things that you've done before, then those puzzle pieces start to come together and you can put them together in a career that you love.
I go back to, I waited tables back in the day. I mean, when I was in college and stuff like that, look, I was a roughneck with an English degree. So that was pretty weird to begin with. But waiting tables, I'll tell you what, that service industry gave me so much training on setting expectations, understanding expectations, meeting needs, steps of service, just kind of going through the process and making sure that, man, we're just addressing everything that we can. So I still draw on that from years and years and years ago, even today. So
that's funny you say that. I learned something new about you because I'm come back from the service restaurant industry as well. And that part of both taking care of people, solving problems, and also the satisfaction of, providing a good service, that's just amplified once you get into real estate. So that's kind of funny. Funny that you mentioned that steps of service like that, the keyword buzzword for me there. If you could say, what's a common myth that people would have that you come across about hiring a real estate agent?
I would say it depends, but, of course, from a buyer's perspective, a lot of times, especially if this is the first time that they're purchasing a home, they don't necessarily understand how we're paid, and that they don't technically have to pay me, that the seller is who pays for my commission. So understanding that throughout that process, I know folks, they don't want to be sold. They don't want, the pressure and everything like that. And to think that, oh my gosh, I've got to pay for this on top of that, helping them to understand that, no, we're here to work in your best interest. I have a fiduciary responsibility. My license is on the line. But it just benefits you to have me on your side, or any realtor as far as that goes, helping you through this whole process. From a seller standpoint, I would say that, again, tons of blogs, articles, websites, all sorts of stuff out there, give you tips and tricks, and that's great and all. Obviously, they're usually pretty broad and whatever, but folks feeling that they'll be able to make more off of it if they do it on their own. And I mean, statistics show anywhere from 6 to 12% less when you're selling for sale by owner. So it's either a wash or it's a negative. So helping folks to understand that, hey, having a realtor there helping you really is going to be one of the things that helps you sell the home faster, get a better return.
Right. Providing that value. I appreciate that. And that's one of the things I come across as well. So what was a time where things might have not gone as planned working with a owner or a home buyer? And how did you overcome the obstacles with that?
I mean, without a doubt, every transaction is different. One of my things that I focus on is working with everybody in their situation. I actually was just recently sold a home for some folks who are out of state. There's a lot going on in this process. So, I mean, on top of everything, the whole transaction, there were several different things that were weighing on them and whatnot. A lot of stuff that they were dealing with personally in their lives. Wanted to take as much of that pressure off as possible. As we were coming to closing, unfortunately, even though they were the sellers, they were going to have to bring some funding to closing. Ultimately, what ended up happening was wiring, transferring funds, putting them into one account, getting held, wiring not being able to happen for a few days and stuff like that. All the fun realtor lingo stuff. So basically, we're going through this, and look, the best interest for everyone involved, the sellers, the buyers, the realtors, and everyone like that, is getting this to the closing table, even with these issues. So basically, there's quite a bit of education for my seller, helping to understand what a dry close is. Where, of course, we close without funding, but going through and just really taking that time to shepherd not just my clients, but the other realtor, title, through all of this, keeping in constant communication. Obviously, throughout the closing process, what we end up being as realtors, if you ask me, are, we're liaisons, we're coordinators. We're working between, all parties to make sure that they are as well informed as possible. And even when the news isn't the best, we'll have to communicate that so that everyone knows where they are and feels comfortable. So as we went through that, just kind of went through, held hands, made sure everybody was on the same page. And, we were able to close that maybe a little bit outside the box from what would be normal, but going through, making sure that we have those contingencies in place, not necessarily jumping to conclusions or being reactionary, but letting things move forward and having those contingencies ready to be like, okay, boom, here, we'll do this on this one. And yeah, got us there. It was great. I mean, it was stressful, don't get me wrong, but coming through on the other side, it's fantastic. Everyone at the end of that one was very happy, thankful, and turned out great. So
you kind of touched on it earlier with background. We talk about problem solving and solving problems on the fly. Those skills come in.
Oh yeah.
That's when you get there. So when you're now that social distancing, we're kind of changing how we do things. How have you pivoted to still serve clients in a personal way?
Obviously remote showings, Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, that's been something I've used for years, with out of state clients, but going ahead and getting that incorporated into even regular showings and everything like that. One of the privileges I have, again, was working for a builder. So I have a lot of familiarity with how homes are built from the ground up, knowing a lot of that. And fortunately, it's been a very positive experience for folks. I'm able to give them at least a better idea of what's going on, even if they're not there physically in the home. But one of the things to make sure of that, I mean, that's not something that people necessarily come out the gate thinking, oh, this is something I can do in this time, and helping them to understand, hey, this is an option. I understand that you need to stay safe and whatever. I'm happy to take on some of that burden so that we could do this via, some kind of remote showing possibility. And folks just don't necessarily think of that as far as when they're talking about, buying or selling a home.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly fine. Works great. Helping them to know that that's available and making it happen for them.
Fantastic. And second last question. So if you had to define it, what does home mean to you?
Home's super important to me. That's one of the things I love about being in this business. When I actually got licensed as a realtor, I went to my orientation, and I had already been selling homes because I worked for the builder. Super familiar with the process. And when I was asked, why do you want to get into this? Why do you want to become a realtor? I said, I like helping people find home. And the gentleman who was leading it was like, you'll get over that. But for me, I'd already kind of been doing this. I had a network and stuff like that. So home's super important to me. And really for me, it means it's where we build our lives, our families, our memories, our future. There's a whole lot more to it than just the sticks and bricks of the home. It's where our lives come together and our dreams and visions of our lives grow. So there's a lot to it, and there's a lot that I feel we as a profession need to respect about that for the folks that are dealing with that, whether they're buying or selling. There's a huge attachment there, and as long as we're being respectful of that, and I consider it a privilege to get to do what I do, makes a big difference.
Most definitely. And I like that word liaison that you used earlier, because that's almost a very succinct definition of what we do as realtors. And I always ask a food question because I was restaurant industry, and I know that you're restaurant industry too now, something that I knew to learn. So what's the first place that you want to go and eat once that you haven't been able to yet?
I need to get me some Zarates in Edmond. Jorge's fantastic. I need to go in there, get me some great, probably some banana leaf tamales, enjoy myself a coronita, the birritas that they have there.
Yes.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. And love Jorge, great local business. They are wonderful, and I want to make sure that everybody's succeeding as much as possible, especially in the midst of all this. So. Especially
now. So if what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Sean?
I would say that obviously my phone, 405-625-2448. Shoot me a text, give me a call, here to help however I can. And then social media, Facebook, Messenger, or even Instagram messages. Have a ton of conversations, work with tons of clients that way as well. So those are probably the two best ways to reach out.
What I'll do is I'll work on getting some links in the description as well. So thanks for talking with me, Sean, Homestead & Co. And hope we get talking to you again soon.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Keith. This was fantastic.
Dream Home Hunter Deep Dive, a Keith Pratt collaborative.